There is Blake Griffin getting shots up. Will he be named a reserve for All-Star Weekend? We're going to find that out shortly. In fact, around 7 o'clock, you can turn into TNT where you'll find that out for sure.
It's cold, boss.
It's so
That
cold.
means it's cold.
Top two teams in the East, one known for his offensive firepower, leading the NBA in scoring, while the other is known for defense.
No, Giannis said, nah, I'm so
Giannis
chilly
bringing
right
the heat.
now.
Giannis bringing the heat.
Yeah, I see you, Snell with the Scully.
Oh, yeah, they both bringing the heat tonight. Both
I'll trade for you, Todd. I'll trade for you.
And
What's Jordan Bell doing?
hey, y'all remember the celebration of the championship?
Yeah.
Still legendary.
Oh,
He's
that's
still
what
out in
that
these
is.
streets, though. Fast forward to present day, that is Mr. Bell, Golden State, out there on the runway to rep and check.
Hey, at least I know it's not cold there because he got them shorts on.
Hey, hit them folks one time.
You guys are going to ask about the trade. I can't really talk about it until the trade call is done. According to what I've heard, that could be sometime around 6 o'clock Eastern time. Could be a few minutes earlier, could be afterwards. Other than that, really can't comment on it.
A blockbuster 6-player trade that you might not have been expecting. Kristaps Porzingis in a 7-player deal going to the Dallas Mavericks. Got Kenny Jet Smith here, Mr. Players Only, Dennis 3D Scott. We're going to chop it up about all of this, get to the bottom, see who won the deal. This trade right here that broke this afternoon. Of course, you're now rocking with the best officially. Ro Parrish here, along with the aforementioned esteemed colleagues of mine, Kenny Jet Smith, Dennis 3D Scott, Players Only.
Real quick, Ro, can you explain to our fans and viewers, though, why Porzingis didn't get traded versus Anthony Davis and his representation getting traded? Because, Kenny, when that happened, I was like, wait a minute, why does Anthony Davis get traded? I don't remember Carmelo getting fined. I don't remember Kyrie getting fined when he asked to be traded. So explain to people so they understand why the difference on this trade, why no one's in this uproar for Porzingis.
So basically breaking down like 3D asked me to do, when you go to your agent and put out an official press release releasing it to the media, that's why the NBA chose to fine Anthony Davis $50K earlier on Monday for requesting a trade publicly.
He had to do that, though.
Why did he have to do it?
Because Anthony Davis is in a different position. He's in a position of trying to let everyone know that he's given the Hornets an opportunity to make a trade and get the Pelicans rather, to make a trade, and New Orleans to make a trade and get assets back. If he did not do that, he could have looked selfish and said, oh, I'm just waiting, and then I don't go to the team I possibly want to play with, and then go somewhere else. So now it gives the true teams that he would actually sign with the opportunity to do it, and it makes everyone a little bit better, and he'll take the $50,000 fine for that.
We talk about making everybody better. Let's talk about this deal right here that's on the table and see who it makes better. Break it down. A 7-2
This was
deal.
crazy, man.
You see the Knicks, they received Jordan, Matthews, Dennis Smith Jr., and 2 first-round draft picks. Meanwhile, the Mavericks get Trey Burke, Courtney Lee, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Mr. Unicorn. So looking at this deal right now.
I didn't realize Courtney Lee was involved too.
Yeah. Well, hey.
That's serviceable, yeah,
Trey
serviceable. Trey Burks played better, kind of rejuvenated, so to speak.
Resurrected his career with the Knicks.
We know what Tim Hardaway Jr. does, Kenny. He knocks down shots. And now the question is, how healthy is Porzingis? Will he play this year now, Kenny? Was he setting out? Was New York Knicks holding him out? So that type of stuff for me needs to come out now, Kenny, and say, yes, the physical, we're going to go through all that process, see where his leg is and so forth. But right now, Kenny, Dallas looks pretty good in this deal.
Pretty good. Like you would say, forget the guys there, Luka Doncic.
Yes. Yes.
You have possibly the youngest up-and-coming superstar, not star. The difference between an all-star and superstar. Luka has a chance to be a superstar. And you're adding Porzingis, who has a chance to be not an all-star, but a superstar. So you're putting in the West the dimension of what everyone else around the West has.
Yeah.
So you look at Golden State, you look at, the Lakers, what they're trying to do, and everyone else is trying to blend. They're saying, okay, Golden State, when you have that fall off and one of those guys leave, now we're right there because you can't really put a team together to compete with Golden State every night.
Right.
But you have to be the one ready when Golden State leaves. When Boogie leaves next year, maybe one of those free agents leave, and all of a sudden we're in the mix. You cannot compete with the current team. So they understand that, I think, and then putting Tim Hardaway as the third or fourth best player on your team.
Another shot maker for the
But where with the Knicks, he's your best player right now, and now he's their fourth best player possibly at times. That, to me, I would say right away. And the Knicks are just saying, hey, we're going for free agency.
I'm glad that you brought up that point because that is how we do in TV. We segue looking at free agency, the potential free agents.
That's a big gamble.
Available. Now,
huge gamble.
If the two players away, talking about Wesley Matthews and DeAndre Jordan, that could potentially create $74 million in cap space available for the Knicks to potentially bring in one of these.
Kemba's going home. Kemba's going home, Kenny.
Think so?
Well, I'm just saying,
but no, you think about this. Can you leave that picture up for 1 second? Can we put that picture back for 1 second? Because
I don't think KD and Clay are never going. I don't think they're going to stiff the market.
But think about this. Okay, let's say KD and Clay and Kawhi Leonard stay where they are, and your two free agents are Kemba Walker and Jimmy Butler. You're not better than with KP, with Porzingis.
Exactly.
So you have to. This is a huge gamble, hoping that a Kevin Durant, a Leonard, a Kyrie Irving and a Klay Thompson, someone else is coming to your team. That's a huge gamble. That's a gamble I don't know if I could have taken at this point. It's just a huge gamble. I'll just leave it as that.
Well, I mean, you talk about looking back at the Knicks over the years, they've gambled a lot this summer of 2010.
And they've been coming up short every year.
So they signed Amari Stoudemire in 2010.
They got an old Amari. They got a banged up Amari.
Yeah, they did.
The Knicks have been doing really, Steve Mills and Scott have been doing some really good things. This is a huge gamble that, you're swinging for the fences. And you have to understand what the climate is of the free agencies, what free agent players are. You have to have your ear to the street. You have to have your ear to the gym. And you have to have your ear to the families. So you have to know a lot to make a move like this, knowing that there is a real strong possibility of what guys are feeling internally.
Right.
Because this is an internal feeling. Because, you look at Paul George last year.
Yep.
This guy turned down the Los Angeles Lakers, the storied franchise in the city that is just offers everything that he has, a hometown product, and he stays in Oklahoma. So to make a gamble like this, to me, that the Paul George of last year would make me hesitate on gambling and say, no, I'm going to trade for someone.
Right.
To get them in and convince them to stay before I try to get them in free agency.
Well, the trade that is yet to happen is the one where Anthony Davis exits the Pelicans. The
he's out.
It hasn't taken place just yet, but Alvin Gentry, he's already over it.
To me, to be honest with you, it really pisses me off, if you want to know the truth, if you want me to speak in layman's terms. Because you should ask us if we feel like second-class citizens. And I can tell you right now, that is the farthest from the truth there is. There is nothing that we ask for or we want or anything that they won't give us and Mrs. B won't give us to try to help us win games. So whoever wrote that, you're actually full of shit, if you want to know the truth.
Earmuffs, kiddies. So when you hear him say it's like we're a second-class franchise organization, what is that? How do you react to hearing
7 years, man? I think it was 7 years he's been here. 7 years is is that mark for most great players, and they say either I'm going to be here for the rest of my career, or I'm going to move. It has nothing to do with. I don't even think the New Orleans Pelicans being a second-class organization has nothing to do with that. Mm-hmm. They've treated him with the utmost respect. They brought in Boogie Cousins last year. They brought in Nurkic. They brought in Rondo. They signed Holiday. They have made some moves that would be, could possibly put him in position, but it just hasn't. So he's saying this is the 7-year mark, and that is the indicator. I don't even know off the top of my head when Chris Webber was a free agent, when Akeem Olajuwon, like all of these guys from the past, and now you bring LeBron James in his 7th year. What did he like? That's the year when guys say, "I'm gonna stay here forever," or "I'm gonna leave."
And that last point, I think this past year, by not bringing back Rondo, we know Boogie's injury kind of made everyone hesitant. I think if you'd have done a few more things, to Kenny's point, and after talking to Rich Paul at the game the other night, that was the deciding factor. In year 7, you're not making the moves that makes us feel comfortable that we want to stay here for our whole career. That's why Rich Paul did what he did.
Well, it makes sense so far in those 7 seasons. The Pelicans have only made it to the postseason twice.
I don't even think it's the moves, though. And D, I don't think it's the moves that they make. Because I think those moves that they made they were going for it in a sense. It just didn't work out. Now it's like you tried, but it just that wasn't the girl I wanted to take to the prom. Or I even could get to I could even get a prom invitation. Because I didn't get to the playoffs. I couldn't even get to dinner. So now it didn't work out. It doesn't have anything to do that you didn't do all of the things. You bought the flowers, you bought the candy, you set up the limousine. It's just nobody. You opened the limousine and nobody was in it. No playoff was inside of that limousine.
Right.
3D, any more prom day commentary?
No, I think we hit on the head. I just wanted to make sure the casual fan understood.
No doubt.
We got so much. Twitter, how come all this guy get fined and that? I just want everyone to understand why the process was the way it was.
Well, that's what we're here for, to give you knowledge, everything. Trade deadline show is coming up. We are going to have it here for you. Make sure you keep it locked on NBA TV. February.
When is that? 6th. Man, I might come in for that.
I mean, you might have to, Jay.
I might just fly in early for that.
I mean, you might as well. Back-to-back Thursday and Wednesday, we got you covered. Check the times are on your screen. But tonight, that's Giannis. The Bucks have gone 11-3 in January, tied for the best mark in the NBA. They visit the Raptors, who have the second best record at home in the East, 21-4. Who's going to win tonight? It's on TNT.
He'll never get traded.
Thursday, that's tomorrow. The All-Star reserves will be revealed on TNT during the pregame show. Then you'll see the Bucks and Raptors. That's a good one at 8 Eastern time. Followed by the 76ers as they continue their Western Conference road trip, taking on the champs in Oakland. The Warriors have won 11 in a row. Tonight, it's Luka Doncic and the Mavericks in New York. Earlier today, Dirk Nowitzki talked about coaching Luka in the Rising Stars game and his advice for the rookie tonight at MSG.
Yeah, I told him, he's got to play hard, or I got to sub him out. I'm going to be tough on him. I want to teach him a lesson, and no, he's been obviously tremendous for us. He's been an amazing find. I think he exceeded all of our expectations, and he deserves to be in that game. He even had a shot to be in the real All-Star game, and he still has, I guess. Once they announce the reserves, we'll see. But he's been, for a 19-year-old, his court vision, his play has been amazing, and we're happy to have him.
For Luka and Brunson and a couple others, just be their first game here. Is there anything you would impart to them about kind of a heads up?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of want to stay in the moment. You don't want to get carried away by the magnitude of the situation here. And sometimes it's easier said than done. And whatever, you see some celebs in the front row, but you just got to stay focused, and once you get subbed in and just focus on your defensive coverage, focus on the next play on offense, and just stay in the moment and enjoy it.
Luka's played in a lot of high-pressure situations in his young basketball life at the age of 19, EuroLeague championship games, that sort of thing. This will be a different experience for him tonight at Madison Square Garden. What advice would you guys give him based on your own memories of walking onto that floor in front of that crowd the first time?
And the Knicks are not the Knicks as back in the past, but I will say is that mystique of walking in there as a professional basketball player, getting to play in front of that crowd. Usually the great ones have magical games in Madison Square Garden. And I think for him is somewhat you got to play well, you want to win, but you also have to put on a show in New York. And if you can do that, It seems like that's your measuring stick of one of those regular season games when you play against the Knicks in New York, G. And so I'm looking forward to him to have one of those special nights.
Yes, Steve, I think so too. And obviously we know Luka is a great student of the game, grew up overseas, so may have a different relationship and understanding of Madison Square Garden. But you know this, I mean, there's an electricity in that building. And you walk in there for a game, the fans are so knowledgeable, the music, the energy, everything about it is just prime time. And you feel it. And, you know, look, he more than any rookie, I would say, is probably ready because the responsibility he had in the EuroLeague, which is, I believe, a tougher league than college basketball, the stage he was on, how he responded. So he is suited for a special moment. And you know what? This kid has had a lot of them already thus far at home and on the road. So one thing I'd say, and it took me a few games, I think, to figure it out. I would get so excited when I would first go to New York that, you know, sometimes it worked against me. So I had to learn how to just stay within myself and then get excited throughout the course of the game. Not go out there for 2 hours and shoot before the game, which I did one time. I had no legs for the game. But, you know, there's an energy there that's just hard to describe. You really just have to feel it, and he'll definitely feel it.
You know what I love about Matt and Grant? You may can attest to this. The conversations you have walking around New York before you play. Just the fans are coming up to you, and how are you going to guard John Starks? What are you going to do? Are you going to post it? They're so knowledgeable. You can't get caught up in talking to everybody about the Knicks basketball. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles this, and I'm looking forward to this from Luka.
By the way, Pete Maravich has the rookie scoring record at Madison Square Garden, 40 back in the 70-71 season. That's something to shoot for Luka Doncic, who's scored better than 30 in 2 straight games now. He also has a chance at this point to become the 5th rookie in NBA history to average 25 and 5 for a season. Is he an all-star in the Western Conference, or should he be?
You know, he has all-star numbers. And I think right now the Western Conference is just loaded. I think he gets a chance if we unfortunately have some injuries, and I think he's right there on that next cusp of being an all-star. But what I'm seeing is, if those numbers right, we're in the East, he would be an all-star right now. It's just unfortunately, I don't think, in my opinion, that he would be an all-star this season.
You know, I agree with you, Smitty. The West is loaded. This kid is just remarkable what he's done. He has a promising future. There's a chance, possibly the last few years there's guys who get injured. Anthony Davis, we don't know how long it's going to take for him to get back. Inevitably sometimes guys will sit down their replacements, but the kid is, what he has done, how he has played. I think everyone said that he was the most ready because of his experience, but I think he's exceeded everyone's expectations and how his confidence, like you just feel like the momentum, the confidence he's gained. And so this kid, he'll be an all-star, whether it's this year, next year, years to come. Definitely a guy who has a chance to be a perennial all-star throughout this league.
Somebody always gets hurt and can't play in the game. I think he will not make the cut tomorrow. I think he'll be the first guy called in when there's an injury in the Western Conference.
That's fair.
It's fair. It could be.
And also factoring in all the votes he received. I think that's something for Adam Silver to consider as well. The Dennis Smith situation in Dallas. They drafted him with a high pick, thinking that he's part of their future. They draft Doncic the following year. They may or may not be all that compatible together. Both probably need the ball in their hands. So you had Dennis Smith leaving the team for a little while and then returning. Rick Carlisle has said, they've worked it out and he wants to continue coaching him. Is he long for this team? Do they make sense together?
Matt, you do bring up a good point, and obviously it feels like he's digressed this year after a really good first-year, rookie year in the league. He's a guy that is accustomed to having the ball in his hands, and he's done that his whole career, did it his rookie season. And now you bring in this guy, Luka, who has a special skill set. And I love how Carlisle has used Luka, putting him on the 3-man, 4 position, going small, embracing small ball, but his decision-making, his ability to close games with his shooting and his, off the dribble. So he has sort of become, maybe, I don't want to say point forward, or maybe like Larry Bird or someone who I think of, or even LeBron, who's, a guy who's a 3 or 4, but the ball is, or the game is run through him. And that's hurt Dennis Smith. And so Dennis Smith, his game is not shooting. His game is athleticism, taking you off the bounce. Now you're asking him to be a spot-up shooter. His shot is not consistent enough to me to complement a Luka Doncic. So, there's some uncertainty there. He's still a young player. He's got a lot of basketball in front of him. If they ever decide to try to move him, I think there might be some suitors out there that would certainly welcome him in his skill set. But it just doesn't seem to be working. In a perfect world, they both would be thriving, playing great basketball, and that's just not happening.
Yeah, and I look at it, it's funny. I look at it when LeBron, joined forces with D-Wade, and we kept saying, is this going to work?
Right.
Wayne won't have the basketball in his head, but he had experience, and they were looking to win a championship. I think for Dennis Smith, if they were older, it could work. He would find a way. But I think he hasn't found his way in the league, being just a second-year player. And then obviously you're that guy. And they say, oh, let me have that ball back. You can't play with the ball anymore.
Right.
I think that's totally hard on a young guy. And he's done a decent job. I know they've had some hiccups, like you said, but I think Dennis Smith wants to see, can I be Luka? I haven't got a chance to see if I can be Luka. Luka just came in from day one being Luka, and it's just been hard for Dennis Smith Jr. I think they could, but I think it'll be better for both the Dallas Mavericks and Dennis Smith Jr. if they can make a trade.
Smith's shooting numbers have actually gone up this season. It's the attempts and almost everything else that have come down in his second year in the league. Dwayne Wade, by the way, was one of the great off-the-ball cutters that in that era. That also helps playing with a guy who's ball dominant. Back to Luka. He'll be part of the Rising Stars game Friday night at All-Star Weekend, representing Slovenia for the world. And he'll be joined by Lauri Markkanen, DeAndre Ayton from the Bahamas, Ben Simmons, remember, from Australia. Folks forget that because he played at LSU. Bogdan Bogdanovic, the reigning MVP of this game. As always, know your Bogdanovic. Josh Okogie, Cedi Osman, who had a big night last night scoring. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the LA Clippers. Rodions Kurucs. Got to get your pronunciation.
Good job, man.
Hey, man, you nailed that one.
Better you than me.
Anunoby. He went to high school in Jefferson City, Missouri, my home state, but was born in the UK.
Wow.
And for the U.S., De'Aaron Fox will be there. Jason Tatum, that's a pretty good Rising Stars player right there, Jason Tatum. Same for Kyle Kuzma. The rookie Trae Young. Donovan Mitchell would fall into that category as well. You're talking about legitimate star players. Did you just do the...
No, I don't know.
You did the thing.
I don't know where that...
Well, one more time he's going to have to do it then, man.
Jaren Jackson Jr., Marvin Bagley III, John Collins. There it is. John Collins.
Smitty, man, come on, man. You crazy.
Man,
Lonzo Ball.
You also got to get you some hot water.
And Jared Allen.
Guess what? Hey, John Collins, my most improved player.
You know what? Here's
I had Siakam, not because Grant said. I had Pascal Siakam. He's moved to the top of my list.
I probably have Siakam, and I have an admitted bias against second-year players only because I feel like they're supposed to improve a lot from year one to year two. Does that make sense?
God, they're supposed to?
Yeah, you're supposed to.
It doesn't always happen.
It doesn't always happen, but they're supposed to.
But that drastic change.
There are a lot of players who get significantly better from year one to year two. So I wouldn't rule them out.
What year is this with Pascal Siakam? Second year, right?
No, he's beyond that, isn't he?
Third year, yeah. So he should have been drastically improved by now. If it's a fourth year, wow, he should have been.
It doesn't just work exponentially like that.
You said first and second. What about first and fourth?
He should be an MVP now.
He should be an MVP right now, man. Come on.
All right. Anyway, John Collins has been great, by the way.
Yes,
Not knocking John Collins. Coming up, we continue to construct a perfect player. Tonight, the category is jump shot. Smitty, not eligible. Steph Curry is